The Visa Bulletin is one of the most important documents for anyone navigating the United States immigration system. Published monthly by the Department of State, it determines when visa applicants can move forward with their cases. For millions of people waiting for family reunification or employment-based green cards, this bulletin represents hope. Understanding how to read it and what to expect can make a significant difference in planning your future. Today, we're looking ahead to December 2025, analyzing what the bulletin might reveal and what trends could shape the entire following year. Before diving into predictions, let's clarify some essential terminology. Retrogression occurs when priority dates move backward, meaning applicants who were previously eligible must wait longer. This happens when visa demand exceeds the annual quota for specific categories or countries. Forward movement is the opposite, when priority dates advance and more applicants become eligible to proceed. Delays refer to periods when dates remain unchanged, creating uncertainty about processing timelines. These three dynamics constantly shift based on demand, country-specific limits, and overall visa availability. The December 2025 Visa Bulletin will likely reflect patterns we've observed throughout the year. December bulletins often bring modest movements or hold steady as the government assesses first-quarter fiscal year demand. For family-based categories, we anticipate mixed results. The F1 category for unmarried adult children of U.S. citizens may see slight forward movement of 2 to 4 weeks for most countries. However, applicants from Mexico and the Philippines could experience minimal advancement due to consistently high demand from these nations. The F2A category, covering spouses and minor children of permanent residents, will probably remain current or near current for most countries. The F2B category for unmarried adult children of permanent residents might advance by 1 to 2 months for countries without specific backlogs. The F3 and F4 categories, covering married children and siblings of U.S. citizens respectively, typically move very slowly. Expect minimal progress, perhaps 3 to 6 weeks at most, with significant backlogs continuing for applicants from countries with high demand. Employment-based categories present a more complex picture for December 2025. The EB1 category for priority workers has experienced volatility in recent years. We predict this category will show retrogression for India and China, potentially moving backward by several months. Other countries may see the category remain current or experience minor forward movement. The EB2 category for professionals with advanced degrees will likely face continued challenges, particularly for India and China, where decades-long backlogs persist. For Indian EB2 applicants, December 2025 might bring a retrogression of 2 to 4 months as demand continues overwhelming supply. Chinese EB2 applicants could see dates hold steady or move forward slightly by 4 to 8 weeks. Other countries in EB2 may experience moderate advancement of 2 to 3 months. The EB3 category for skilled workers and professionals will probably mirror EB2 trends, but with slightly better movement for countries outside India and China. Indian EB3 applicants might see minimal forward progress of 1 to 2 months, while Chinese applicants could advance by 2 to 4 months. Country-specific considerations significantly impact Visa Bulletin predictions. India faces the longest backlogs across most employment-based categories due to per-country limits and high demand. The 7% per-country cap means Indian applicants compete within their own pool, creating multi-year and sometimes multi-decade waits. China experiences similar challenges, but generally with shorter wait times than India. The Philippines maintains substantial backlogs in family-based categories, particularly F4, where wait times exceed 20 years. Mexico sees significant delays in F2B and F4 categories. Looking beyond December into the first quarter of 2026, January through March will likely bring cautious optimism. The government typically releases unused visas from the previous fiscal year during this period, potentially creating temporary forward movements. Family-based categories might see modest advancement of 4 to 8 weeks across most classifications. Employment-based categories could experience more significant movement, particularly in EB2 and EB3 for countries other than India and China. However, any substantial forward movement often triggers increased demand, potentially leading to subsequent retrogressions. The second quarter of 2026, covering April through June, historically shows more conservative movements. As visa usage data from the fiscal year's first half becomes clearer, the Department of State adjusts projections accordingly. We anticipate this period will bring stability rather than dramatic changes. Family-based categories will likely hold steady or advance minimally. Employment-based categories may experience slight retrogressions, particularly if first-quarter movements generated higher than expected demand. This quarter often serves as a recalibration period before the fiscal year's final push. The third quarter of 2026, July through September, represents the final stretch of the fiscal year. The Department of State must ensure all available visas are used without exceeding statutory limits. This creates dynamics where forward movements accelerate to maximize visa usage. Family-based categories could see advancement of 2 to 4 months during this period. Employment-based categories might experience significant forward movement, especially in August and September, as the government pushes to meet annual quotas. However, this movement often benefits applicants from countries without severe backlogs more than those from India, China, Mexico, and the Philippines. The fourth quarter of 2026, October through December, marks the beginning of a new fiscal year. October bulletins reset based on new annual visa allocations and updated demand projections. We expect October 2026 to bring retrogressions across multiple categories as the government takes a conservative approach to the new fiscal year. November and December will likely show stabilization as patterns emerge. Family-based categories may hold steady or advance slightly. Employment-based categories will depend heavily on how the previous fiscal year concluded and what carryover demand exists. Throughout 2026, several broader trends will influence Visa Bulletin movements. Legislative changes remain a wild-card. Comprehensive immigration reform, if passed, might eliminate per-country caps or increase overall visa numbers. Administrative policy changes could affect processing speeds and priority date movements. Economic conditions will impact employment-based demand, with strong job markets potentially increasing EB-2 and EB-3 applications. Global events, including international relations and economic shifts in sending countries, will influence application volumes. Technology and processing improvements play a role. The Department of State and USCIS continue modernizing systems, potentially reducing processing times and creating more predictable bulletin movements. However, system implementations sometimes cause temporary slowdowns. Applicants should monitor not just priority dates, but also processing times at service centers and consular posts. A favorable priority date means little if administrative processing creates additional delays. For family-based applicants, understanding the distinction between filing dates and final action dates remains crucial. The filing date chart determines when you can submit your adjustment of status application, while the final action date determines when visas are actually issued. USCIS announces monthly which chart applies for adjustment applications. This dual chart system creates opportunities to begin the adjustment process earlier. Applicants should prepare documents in advance and file promptly when dates become current. Employment-based applicants face additional complexities, including labor certification requirements and employer sponsorship considerations. Priority dates are established when labor certifications are filed, or, for categories not requiring them, when immigrant petitions are submitted. Job changes can impact cases, particularly for EB-2 and EB-3 applicants using AC-21 portability provisions. Understanding these nuances helps applicants make informed decisions about career moves while maintaining their place in line. Consulting with immigration attorneys becomes important when considering job changes or other life decisions that might affect pending applications. Practical advice for navigating the Visa Bulletin system starts with regular monitoring. Check the bulletin monthly. Sign up for email notifications from the Department of State and USCIS. Maintain organized records of all immigration documents, including priority date notices, approval notices, and correspondence. Keep contact information current with USCIS and the National Visa Center to ensure you receive important communications. Missing a notification about your case. Becoming current can result in significant delays. Financial planning is another critical consideration. Visa processing involves substantial costs, including filing fees, medical examinations, and potential attorney fees. Having funds readily available when your priority date approaches ensures you can act quickly. Additionally, consider the financial implications of potential job changes or relocations that might be necessary once your visa is approved. Planning ahead reduces stress and allows you to focus on the exciting opportunity of obtaining permanent residence. Staying informed about policy changes and legal developments helps you anticipate how they might affect your case. Follow reputable immigration news sources and organizations that track legislative and administrative changes. Verify important information through official sources or qualified immigration attorneys. Understanding the bigger picture of immigration policy helps you contextualize Visa Bulletin movements and set realistic expectations. Emotional resilience is equally important when dealing with the uncertainty of Visa Bulletin predictions. The immigration process tests patience and perseverance. Connect with others through support groups or online communities. Celebrate small victories, like forward movements and priority dates, even if final approval remains distant. Maintain perspective by focusing on aspects of life you can control while waiting. Many applicants successfully build careers, families, and lives while navigating the immigration system. Your journey, though challenging, is shared by millions who have successfully reached their goals. The December 2025 Visa Bulletin will be one snapshot in an ongoing process that requires patience, preparation, and persistence. While predictions provide guidance, actual movements depend on numerous factors that can shift unexpectedly. Stay informed, remain prepared, and maintain realistic expectations. Whether you're waiting for family reunification or employment-based permanent residence, understanding the Visa Bulletin system empowers you to make informed decisions. The path may be long, but with proper planning and perseverance, your immigration goals are achievable. Each monthly bulletin brings you one step closer to your American dream.